Fellow spaceships to Davenport, prepare for anarchy and interface with a couch in space. It's Spaced Out time once again. Super happy to be back for our little space pause. Even though space never quits, it's infinite by nature of its eternityness, of its infiniteness. And I'm a little bit weirdly underlit today because we had a space light break right before broadcast time. But that's what happens when you broadcast your show from a couch in space on the knife's edge of danger for absolutely no reason. We're going to do advertising in just a second. I realize they've been doing 9 releases from Legerhawk Records every week. And so we're going to start doing 10 just because that sounds like it knows what we're doing. It makes it sound like we know what we're doing, I should say. So, for this week, here is the top 10 from sponsor Legerhawk Records with a brand new logo. Check it out. There's a Liger in the negative space, is designed by Christopher. Goblin Music. Bitman went back and added 14 tracks. He's crazy. Bitman also has a new thing called Bachelor. It's the same guy, but he's got a single and an album out under that name. And then he remixed that under the name Shadow. Meat Cramp has a new album out called Rye Bread. It's amazing. Invictus is back. Liminal Dunes. It's great. 8-Bit Panastrike and Meat Cramp collaborated on a track called Everybody Knows. Hexagonal Structures with Summoning Samhain or Samhain. Crucifera, new signing, Martyr Box single. Pre-Dawn Raid, the single from Meat Cramp. Gasoline and Invertebrates, Misery Monster is, of course, also out. And those are the top 10 this week from our great sponsor, Legerhawk Records. Also sponsored by Super 7, the coolest toys in all the land. You know, always picking up stuff from them. This week featuring Captain Deadstar. It's another in their The Worst series. He's supposed to be, apropos, a space pirate. This is like the Muscle Man version, like the tiny plastic one that they made yellow just because they can do that. But you can check all that out at super7.com/spacecouchshow is where you want to go. That helps out the show with a little bit of recognition with that wonderful company. Speaking of recognition, I would like to recognize the fact that I am so excited today. I really looking forward to this one. I've become such a big fan of this person's music. To say nothing of, I always get wild for fellow Tennessean episodes, even though I'm in space and totally not in Knoxville, Tennessee. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome MORTE D'ABBY. What's going on? Thank you so much for coming to space. Very cool thing, and thank you for your time. We will start with a little segment we like to call Encapsulate What You Create. How would sort of you describe you? Like, how would you describe your musical output right now?
Probably in a kind of generic way by calling it melodic techno.
Okay.
EDM. I do that. I also do a thing I kind of refer to as cinematic ambient, which is ambient with that's kind of has the cinematic overtones.
Right.
But I do it in the same way.
If you find yourself making this motion, it's cinematic ambient. I found.
Yeah. But it kind of follows the same process.
Okay.
And I say generic because from release to release, I use different tempos, different percussion sets. I mean, I just put out a drum and bass. I don't do drum and bass, but I did a whole album of drum and bass. And I'm working on now one that's, it's more techno. It's a 4 on the floor, kind of bright, upbeat, and when I go into it, the methodology is the same, but in the end, the sound is going to be different based on.
Very cool. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because I was going to go right for it if you weren't, because you can sort of, and fairly enough, sort of put the umbrella of melodic techno on it, like put that sticker on it. But you have more facets than a D20. You did, like, every album is just so wide ranging.
Yeah,
and
it's experimentation.
Totally. Okay.
And I take things I learned, because I'm constantly learning. Right, I've not been at this very long, so I have a lot to learn.
And that's the other mind blowing part. Yeah. Like, you just relatively just started, and your catalog is really huge. So it's EDM, but the E stands for experiment.
It's not classical experimental, but the process is experimental.
Right. And you're not like pouring milk onto effects pedals and hitting cymbals with chains and all that shit. But
I'm not good enough and experienced enough to sit down and go, I want this sound, I want it to sound like this, and know what I want to do. Right. I think most musicians, when they go into a studio, they know what they want. Right? It is. I don't know what I want when I sit down, except what I want it to sound like. Right?
I have found in my own personal experience, that's a big appeal of electronic music for me. Like, I'll accidentally click a few things and it'll sound great and be like, oh yeah, I totally meant to do that. But you did mean to do drum and bass on the new hotness, Affliction. Yeah. Out now on Triplicate Records. What led you to specifically the drum and bass genre, coming from melodic techno world?
I started to do a drum and bass track for a Discord comp, and it ended up being about an 8-minute track. Okay. Which at the time that's what I was doing, was these long 8-minute tracks. And they said that's too long. So I shortened it down about 5 minutes or so. And then they're like, well, that's still too long. And I'm like, I've already gutted it. I'm not going to take it down to less than 4 minutes. So I held on to it. I put it on as the Bandcamp bonus track for 5 minutes. Okay. Because it was 5 minutes and something. In fact, that entire release was my way of trying to force myself into making shorter tracks. Oh, okay. I went from 7 8-minute tracks down to 5, right? 5.5. And I put that on it as a bonus, as a Bandcamp bonus track at the end. And I liked doing it so much that I decided I wanted to do a whole release. And I love it. And you know, drum and bass percussion is pretty fixed. Right. Right. But it was a chance for me to kind of experiment with really aggressive bass lines. That is cool. You're making me want to do it now, because it's a very specific sounding, at least to me, genre, but still a lot of experimentation available in it. Well, when you look at, there's a hard to find genre that has kind of there's requirements of what goes on in the song. And when you hear it from like the major labels that do it, there's a consistency in the styling. And I don't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. Right. And so I'm not doing that. I don't have vocal tracks. But it's drum and it's bass. So normally where I would, what's driving or what everything is sitting on is sort of a melodic sound to carry you through. For drum and bass, is the bass line. Dig it. So you create bass lines that are really aggressive, and and that's all right. It was different. It was a different departure in that sense. So anyway. Well, audience, your homework today is to go check out Affliction. You can get that at I found it at MORTE D'ABBY at Bandcamp.com. Find that all over the internet. I want to move on to a feature. I don't have a title for it yet because I keep forgetting to do it, but I call it e-cigs. That's not electronic cigarettes. It's
early childhood indicators of Gothic sensibilities. I read that like for me, like I was really into like Skeletor and Halloween as like a kid. Like, what were some indications that you would go down this darkened path as a child?
I'm going to give away my age. I was in
to.
grade school. I was in
Okay.
grade school during when goth was right when Bauhaus
Yeah.
and all of that started. I was in grade school,
Okay.
so I grew up in the military,
Mm-hmm.
which limited my access to concerts
Right.
and actual real record stores. So and there was no internet at the time.
Right.
So when I would hear it, when I get access to it, I was just grabbing up all of it that I could get, and then when I got to college a little bit later, then I was actually able to go back
Okay.
and get full albums for the
Right.
things that I had heard
Totally.
and whatnot. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah. So for me, goth was the music.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. I had a
Yeah.
lot of dubbed cassettes as a youth. Um,
Yeah.
that I went back and got as a full album.
Mhm.
Well, fast forward to today, and you sort of. I was just in sort of taking in the lore of the mighty MORTE D'ABBY. You jumped right in on the deep end with modular synthesis, which
Yeah.
for the audience at home is. It looks cool, but it's at least very visually intimidating. It's. Have you ever seen a guy standing in front of a wall of technology with a bunch of little colored wires all sticking out of it? That's probably a modular synthesis. What led you into the daunting world of modular synth?
I'm not. From what I've seen, I think most people when they get into modular now, uses it to make some really interesting
Yeah.
sounds. But on the flip side of that, you have somebody like Hans Zimmer, who has a library that is not books, but he's got
Right.
this wall covered
Hell yeah.
in modular. And for me, it's the experimental part, and it's also it's all analog,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I can't save a preset, which
Right.
can be a downside. Um, and it allows for a lot more interesting experimentation
Mm-hmm.
than a hardware synth. With the exception, there's some exceptions like the polybrute type of stuff
Mm-hmm.
where you can link certain things with the push of a button,
Mm-hmm.
and modular allows you to to do that on the fly. You're not
Yeah.
limited by the way that the synth is wired up inside the box. Like I said, I don't do the sort of bleep bloop caustic stuff. For me, it's another hardware synth
Okay.
with a lot of options,
Very cool.
right?
Very cool.
And yeah, so it's to play with, experiment with.
Well, hats
Yeah,
off to you. Like I've dipped my big toe in that world a little bit, and I've used it a little bit, and it's always been like, all
yeah,
right, I'm getting freaked out. I gotta go bust out a VST.
yeah.
So kudos to your modular chops. Speaking of sort of riding the sonic wave, I know you're not live yet, but do you have any recent thoughts on how you might do a live set?
Yeah, I think the way that I make the way that I'm making music right now
Yeah.
is a lot of the sound that I get is sort of manipulating the track in the DAW.
Mm-hmm.
And if I showed you a track stack, right, I do things um, like a filter, delay, and
Mm-hmm.
reverb sandwiches, right? And I'll
Okay.
get 6 or 7 of these things,
Oh, damn.
right? Because
Okay.
you can take an ARP,
Right.
throw a delay on it to fill in the holes,
Right.
give it a little reverb, and then throw a sequenced or gated filter on it,
Yeah.
and you get this completely different thing, and then I throw another delay on it and another reverb, and you get something that sounds completely different, driven by an ARP.
It's the best.
It's cool, and that's when I say experiment. That's the kind of thing that I do.
Wow, you're getting you to mad science, alchemist over here.
What I need to do, because I've got hardware, I've got other hardware since I've got the Erect, is to put some effort into building tracks directly from what can be done on the hardware.
Okay.
And I think once I can do that and kind of get the same sort of sound that I'm happy with, and then I would be able to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'd have fun doing it.
Oh,
cool.
I would love to see some MORTE D'ABBY live. I will admit. I'm also interested in. I learned that you've recently finished a vampire novel. Any thoughts on self-publishing that, perhaps, so we can get it out to the people?
I'm working on kind of doing polishing it off.
Okay, very cool.
My goal is to have it done by the end of the year.
Oh, awesome! Awesome.
I've got a book on Amazon right now.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, one that I had started on about a decade ago.
Okay.
And you know, there's some authors that are like, well, yeah, I spent 10 years on that or 15 years on that. And I'm like, I'm not that kind of person.
Okay.
Right. When you look at the music that I have on my Bandcamp, the early stuff is like really simple, right? Because I didn't know anything. When you look at it and listen to the early stuff, I like some of it. Some of it I still like, oh, that's really cool. But it's really simple. It's basic. The mix is muddy. You know, all of those various things. But to learn, you have to do. And I'm not the kind of person that wants to make a bunch of stuff and leave it in a folder.
Okay.
I can't do that. So I make a goal. 3 months. I'm going to do 7 or 8 tracks, and then that's done, and I'm on to the next one.
That's awesome.
I have to do that, right? That's just the way my brain works.
Very cool.
So the thing with the book was, you know, is it ready? I don't know. I spent some time trying to find an agent, trying to find a publisher. And I'm like, I can't play around with this anymore. I've got 12 other books floating around in my head. I got to get it done. So I published it on Amazon because I got to get it. I got to get it out of the way.
Well, we'll cut that in here.
And that's what I'm going to try to do.
Okay.
Try to get it done by the end of the year and stick it on Amazon as well. Yeah.
I mean, everybody knows that has a friend that's been working on the same album for 12 years. You know,
I can't do that.
Can't do it.
Yeah. You get done, the mix is done, you've listened to it. By the time I send it off to get mastered, I've listened to it 2 or 3 times a day for like 2 or 3 weeks. I'm like, I'm done. That's it. I'm done. And it goes off to get mixed. I'm like, on to the next thing.
Yeah. That's so cool. I'm also curious. I'm in Knoxville /space, and you're in Nashville. I've actually never been there, but I was curious as to what you might find cultural differences between your former home of Florida and Tennessee, or Nashville specifically.
Florida really isn't a southern state.
Okay.
If you get into, there's the Panhandle and a center strip of the peninsula.
Right.
That's you'll get some country folk in that area, but it's not really southern. There's so many people from the north that have come down and kind of brought their northern culture with them, that it's a different state in that regard. So I grew up in the military, but my father's is Southern Illinois. Okay. Family in Kentucky. So it really kind of Kentucky semblance. And my mom's from West Virginia. So I grew up in that.
Okay, cool.
In that environment. All my relatives are Kentucky and West Virginia
Gotcha.
and that. And so Florida is not. Nashville is, it's interesting because there's that culture that's here, that Southern culture. But because Tennessee doesn't have a state income tax now,
Yeah.
Nashville is really starting to pull in the tech companies, right? I think
Totally.
Oracle's moving their HQ
Oh,
here.
awesome. Okay.
And that is going to shift
Yeah.
the culture. If you ever make, here's an example, if you ever make it up to Seattle, it's a different kind of place than any other place I've ever been in the country.
Sure.
And I've been all over the US. It's full of a lot of tech people. So when you run into people on the street, they're on the spectrum. Most of the people up there are that way, and it's impacted the culture of the city. And not to say it's good or bad or anything. It's just, it's different.
Gotcha.
And if you get out of the main area where I'm at downtown, because there's a lot of young tech people. There's a lot of people. And of course, people in the music industry, right? Sony is the music publishers, a lot of music publishing companies here. So there's a lot of young people and then a lot of tech people. But if you get outside just a little bit, you get into the more kind of Southern.
Okay. Very cool.
Community. Yeah.
I'm going to have to check it out one of these days.
It's cool.
Sounds great. Yeah. Like Knoxville's blowing up. Like there's a new apartment complex going up every 6 feet. Like because everyone's moving.
Yeah.
Which I did. Like I did the same thing. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this is exciting. This is everybody's favorite feature, Radiation Round. Called that because lightning is exceedingly rare in space. Just because there's like not a lot of stuff. So anyway, so no wrong answers. Say whatever you want. Question 1: breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
Breakfast. All day, every day.
Hell yes. I'm doing my breakfast coffee right now at night after work. Okay, so for our vampire author, question 2: the Count, Blade, Angel, or Grandpa Munster?
I'd say Blade.
Blade, yes.
Yeah.
And question 3: do you have a favorite Eurorack module manufacturer?
I think right now I would have to say Nobula.
Okay, what do they do?
And the reason I say Nobula is the one that I'm looking at now is called the Polycinematic. Polycinematic? Yeah, Polycinematic. It's an 8-voice. It's kind of an 8-voice synth.
Oh, cool.
It's a pad. It's kind of a pad, but it's got built-in filter and it's got reverb, and what I make is built on a chord progression, right? And the cinematic is built on generally a pad, right? That's what kind of gives me that. I use the pad to express the emotion in the chord progression.
Totally.
And that's where I start with building of the track. Now, the stuff I'm doing now with the sort of the 4 on the floor EDM stuff, I'm using kind of a bright main, a lead synth sound. It's going to be a little bit more bright, but yeah, Nobula. And then they have a module that's all about effects, right? It's a full effects thing. Okay. But I've got a full 8-voice synth effectively in a single module. And that allows me through MIDI, I have a Digitac too.
Okay.
So I use that to drive the modular. So I can get my chord progression with the pad out of the Eurorack without having to use an extended external hardware synth. And that allows me then to build on it from there.
Yeah, just one less thing on the desk as long as you're plugging in this space station of wires and stuff.
Well, yeah, but if I'm going to use Eurorack, I want to be able to do everything in the Eurorack, right? I mean, I've got a percussion. I've got a Black Noir. So it's all the percussion stuff in one. I got that taken care of, and I got that, and if I can do everything in the Eurorack, then to me it makes sense to be able to kind of play with it. If I can't, then to me it just doesn't make any sense in having it. So
there you go.
Yeah.
That's makes sense to me. Okay,
Yeah.
so from the top, that's Breakfast Blade and a slam in the back of my Nebula.
Yep.
So then we'll go to everybody's second favorite feature, Hypothetical Spectacle, which is where we get sort of like weird and crazy and like imagine like your essence as like something else. And so that like myself, exactly, you're also in tech. So
unfortunately,
yeah, dude. My day job just like had its way with me today. But if this is kind of a weird one, if MORTE D'ABBY was an operating system, what would it be?
Amiga OS.
I love it. Why Amiga OS?
So Amiga OS was kind of a powerhouse to do everything.
Yeah.
Right. The pilot for Babylon 5.
I was going to go right to Babylon 5 if you weren't.
The space data, all the graphics were done on a freaking Amiga desktop.
Oh.
I ran into a guy in college that had an Amiga OS, and he ran a BBS on it.
Really?
And that's how I met him. That's how I met him, by connecting to his BBS, signing up, and conversed, and that's how I discovered he had it running on an Amiga and whatnot. And it was like cool. So it does music. It did everything.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it was the Mac.
It was, yes.
Of the late 80s, early 90s.
Oh man, if you weren't gonna bring up that Babylon 5 factoid, I was gonna okay. That's a quick way to my heart, is bringing up both Babylon 5 and Amiga OS. Okay, perfect answer. I wasn't quite sure how that one was gonna go, because I kind of fall into a trap of asking the same hypothetical spectacles, and we usually close on what is next for you, but I think we've gotten into that a little bit already, because like Affliction's out now, and then you're working on like the club hit Four on the Floor banger album.
Yeah.
Okay,
always working on it. Always, I get a release done and boom, I'm right into that.
I love it. Super.
I have to.
Multi-threading. So you got the. We'll look for that. We will keep our space ears to the space ground for the Vampire novel, and Affliction is out now. So what did we learn today? Our guest is a nonstop engine of production. Please check out her on the Bandcamps. Affliction's out now. The drum and bass one, just because she wanted to, on Triplicate Records. Had to sort of get into the whole goth world on the margins, growing up in the military, and then dove into the deep end on modular synth, because it's like, it's like surfing almost. You're just riding that sonic wave. We might get a live show. Vampire album. Well, we have one book out now that'll put the link up here too, and perhaps a Vampire album. Florida is not really a southern state, but Nashville is on the margins. Breakfast all day, every day. Hell yes. Blade and Nebula, because you can pack 8 voices into a little patch, and I might have to. I was gonna say I might have to work in this hypothetical spectacle question for other people on future episodes, but maybe not, because I don't think I'm ever gonna get a better answer than Amiga OS. I'm gonna have to put on that first season of Babylon 5 now, and it's just like it looks like it's almost like on a Super Nintendo or something, but it's not, because
it's terrible.
It's terribly,
it's cool.
But it's cool. Yes, it's got that weird
cool.
I can tell this is retro, but in a way that I haven't seen before if you're watching it with 2025 eyes. Anyway, that's all I got. I think we nailed it. If you have any final thoughts, feel free to tell them onto our space audience. But it's been really cool for me to meet you, because I know we talk on like the internet and stuff. So basically, Space Couch is how it's just my excuse to meet people I think are cool on the internet. So thank you for fulfilling that role.
Thank you.
Awesome. So this is Brian for Space Couch, for Abby for MORTE D'ABBY, saying, call the spaceships at Devonport, prepare for divinity, and interface with the couch in space. Space Couch out! And then I just let us talk over the thank you so much. That was really fun.
Thanks, Brian.
This will be out on Sunday.